Today we're playing Detroit Become Human. We're playing Two Souls Become Detroit. We're playing this game. We're playing Detroit. This is a David Cage. That's his name, I believe. We're playing that game. And it's gonna be a whole thing. So be ready for that. It's coming to us from XDev, Quantic Dream. And we're going to talk about what we can assume or what we can learn from this game before we play it based on the title screen, if it gives us one.
Hello. Welcome to the Detroit experience.
Okay.
I'm an android and I'll be your hostess.
Apparently not.
Before we begin, let's make some adjustments to optimize your experience.
So this is a choice. This is a choice the game is making to intro us to the game.
Detected on your console. Are they correct?
Press X to crawl. Okay, all right. So we can talk about this. This isn't the title screen, but this is a very similar jam. So this is doing that thing where it says like, hey, you're in a video game, you're playing a video game, but you're also in the world. We're in between the two things. And this is basically the first time that we get a chance to understand like what's happening in the world. Is this supposed to be like she talked about our console, which I sort of hate. I hate when they do that. Don't put your controller on the ground, Snake. That bothers me because it really like, unless the whole game is about that, it really violates that space. Like I like being in the narrative, but I don't like it pretending like it knows that I'm using a controller. Like she's looking at us like, what are you talking about? Shut up, Adam. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm sorry. It does immediately teach us this person is subservient to us. Right? Because here she is, she's asking us what to do, and not subservient in like a slave way, but subservient in a, like, she's got a job, and her job is to make our experience in the game better, right? It places her in the space. And what we can learn about her is that at the very least, she's some kind of modified human because she's got the little blip bloop in her brain there. So she's got this pulsing sensor. She looks like a MacBook, and here she is, right? Now, I want to invite you to observe a photographic technique at play here. So a photographic technique at play here, which is depth of field. Notice how her nose and her ears and back are out of focus. So what we're getting here is a narrow depth of field. We're getting a narrow depth of field that only shows her eyes and her lips and part of her hair. There's a layer there that's in focus. So it's a really narrow, like shallow depth of field. And what that does with portraits, shallow depth of field, creates intimacy, because that's what happens when you're physically close to someone. Your eyes can't focus on their whole face. And so it's reproducing that. I'm about like 2/3 of a meter from my screen. And it really does, based on the size of her face and where it is. Her face is about the same size as mine. I feel like I'm looking at a person. And the depth of field helps with that. So now the game interface comes up in front of us, and it's using the same language that we saw in Deus Ex, right? Like there's a design language, not just English, but there's a design language of visual design here that says like, "Hi, welcome to the future. This is sci-fi. Look at these triangles. Look at all the triangles." So that's the first thing that I'm drawn to here is this like kind of it's a little hammy, this hammy design thing. Here's some random like numbers and letters. DB 3.8, GM 7.6, triangles and dots. It looks like a UI someone designed to make it look like the future. It's Black Mirror does this all the time. I can't really fault it for them, but this is just kind of like what happens. This is what designers do. This is where they go when they want to make something look sci-fi. I will say the other thing, besides the like screaming obvious, she said she was an android in front of us. Besides that, look at how she's dressed. This is another thing I called out in Deus Ex. I'm going to call it out here. She's wearing a see-through plastic shirt, at least a partly see-through plastic shirt. Nothing says, "We want you to think this is the future," than see-through plastic clothing, right? That is a way, a clear and obvious way for a costume and production designer to say, "Oh, that's the future. Look at her Look at her see-through clothes. They're plastic. Nobody cares about modesty in the future. Transparency is all where it's at. So, you know, they're fine. It's visual shorthand. We're not supposed to be sitting here, like, basically taking our time with this title screen the way we are. But this is the thing. The origin of the plastic clothes, I gotta say, for me at least, the origin of the plastic clothes thing goes right back to Blade Runner, right? It's her jacket. The android whose name I can never remember. Anyway, she puts on that plastic jacket after she throat punches Deckard, and she has to run away. Yeah, and that's the thing. Snake Lady, exactly. Snake Lady. So yeah, we're in the future. There's an android who is serving us. She knows that we're playing a video game, but I don't know how deeply she knows that. I do like the kind of casual looking around she's doing. This is the kind of thing that if you had eye tracker software, like if I had a camera, like another camera right here doing eye tracking, I would expect that her eyes would track mine. Like if I look over there, she would look at what I'm looking at. But right now, she's just kind of vacantly looking around. If this was a Hideo Kojima game, she would be responding both to my eyes and my PlayStation mic input on my controller, so she would hear me. So if my volume of my voice went up, she would wince away a little or something, you know. But that's not Zora. Zora is her name. Yeah. So plastic clothes, triangles. It's got that Apple Store aesthetic of this kind of glowy blue sheet. Like I said, she looks like a MacBook. I wonder what the choice. Now I don't know who this character is or where she fits, but I wonder what the choice is here and what it's saying that our very first interaction with another human being in the game world is an interaction with a white woman, a blonde hair, blue-eyed white woman android. Compare and contrast with the fact that the game is called Detroit. It's, again, everything designers do is on purpose. So I'm wondering what the purpose is of this shiny-lipped, blue-eyed young lady looking robot. Okay, so let's do what she asks. Let's do the thing. We'll find out if she meant video game console or if she meant another thing. If she meant another thing that didn't mean video game console, pick a different word. Come on, honey. All right, so we're gonna do it in English. We're gonna do text language in English. We're gonna leave the subtitles on. I'm gonna do medium subtitles so y'all can actually read them. All right, this is what I've chosen. What do you have to say?
Please adjust your screen settings.
Please adjust your lip sync. Okay. Okay, for me, this is calibrated. I need the monitor to be a little bit brighter. It might be different for you. I'm gonna calibrate it for me. This is interesting because it totally throws out all the work they did in the last screen. Why do we have this promotional screenshot? Like, why didn't this just come up in front of her? Like, this has just pulled me back out of that whole situation. So, okay, great. So now it's flipped us, and this feels much more like an option screen.
Thank you. Now select your profile.
Oh boy. Okay, so this is profile, this is difficulty. We can either be casual or experienced. Experienced is immersive gameplay with advanced controls, a fair challenge where mistakes can mean losing a character. Or I want to focus on the story with simpler control. So does that mean experienced is like, what is the difference between immersive gameplay and focus on the story? Advanced control, it's just a series of QuickTime events, right? So I really don't know what to pick here. Like, I'm interested in losing characters, but like, yeah, how good are you at QuickTime events? I think I might go with casual just because I don't want to be frustrated by like bullshit QTEs, like motion controller shit. I mean, immersive story just means you do more gameplay, probably. Blech. All right, we're gonna go with casual. I don't care. I hate this term. I hate this term when it's used in a game. I don't think casual and experienced are opposite ends of the same spectrum. I think this is dumb. Also, yeah, accessibility, right? Like if it's a lot of motion controls and stuff, where's the accessible option? You always fail forward. It uses the 6 axis. I'm good. Okay. All right. Should we? maybe it doesn't really matter. Okay, fuck it then. We'll go experience, because if I hate it, I can just start over, right? I don't know if I can change this again, but whatever.
When this sign is displayed, please do not turn off your console.
What, when you display it? Or, oh, I see, the one up there.
You are now ready to begin Detroit. Remember, this is not just a story. This is our future.
Remember, this is a metaphor. Wow. Well, there's our title screen, I guess. Good luck us.